Why is Lyme disease getting worse? Hello and welcome back to Healthy Drops. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Lyme disease is worsening. In California, how common is Lyme disease? And why are interest rates rising? Lyme disease is a bacterial infection spread by infected ticks to humans. Lyme borreliosis is another name for it. Ticks are tiny spider-like creatures that live in woodlands and moorland. They feed on the blood of birds, mammals, and humans. The earlier Lyme disease is diagnosed, the easier it is to treat. What causes Lyme disease? A tick can become infected if it bites an animal carrying the bacteria that cause Lyme disease. The tick can then transmit the bacteria to them by biting a human. Ticks can be found in any area with dense or overgrown vegetations where they can feed on animals. They are commonly found in woodland and moorland areas, but they can also be found in gardens and parks. Ticks do not fly or jump. If you brush up against something they're on, they'll crawl onto your clothes or skin. Then they bite into your skin and begin feeding on your blood. In general, if the tick is attached to your skin for more than 24 hours, you are likely to become infected. Ticks are small and their bites are not painful, so you may be unaware that you have one attached to your skin. Who is at risk and where you can find ticks? People who spend time in woodland or moorland areas from March to October are at a higher risk of contracting Lyme disease because more people participate in outdoor activities. Ticks can be found in the United Kingdom as well as other parts of Europe and North America. For example, the Scottish Highlands have a high tick population. Only a small percentage of ticks are thought to carry the bacteria that causes Lyme disease. Therefore, being bitten does not guarantee that you will become infected. However, it is critical to be aware of the risk and consult a doctor if you begin to feel ill. Lyme disease diagnosis. Many Lyme disease symptoms are similar to those of other conditions, making diagnosis difficult. To diagnose Lyme disease, two types of blood tests were used. In the early stage of Lyme disease, the tests are not always accurate. If you still have symptoms after a negative test, you may need to be tested again. Lyme disease treatment. Antibiotics are usually prescribed if you have Lyme disease symptoms. If you are prescribed antibiotics, you must complete the course even if you feel better. This will help ensure that all of the bacteria are eliminated. If your symptoms are severe, you may require antibiotic injections. Some antibiotics used to treat Lyme disease can increase your skin's sensitivity to sunlight. Therefore, you should avoid prolonged sun exposure and refrain from using sunbeds until you have completed the treatment. There is currently no consensus on the most effective treatment for post-infectious Lyme disease. This is because the underlying cause is still unknown. Therefore, be wary of websites that promote alternative diagnostic tests and treatments. These claims may or may not be supported by scientific evidence. The rise of Lyme disease. There are approximately 80 to 100 reported cases in the state each year. Residents and visitors to the northwestern coastal counties of Trinity, Humboldt, and Mendocino are most vulnerable. However, because most Lyme disease cases are not reported, the number of Lyme disease cases likely exceeds 1,000 cases per year. There are several possible explanations for the rise in rates in California and across the country. The first is globalization. People travel extensively and someone could become infected while on the East Coast and return with Lyme disease. Another reason is climate change. As the tick vector, the Ixodes or blackleg tick has expanded its geographic range westward from the northeast United States as well as southward year after year. Ticks must have an animal reservoir, which is essentially a mammal such as a squirrel or a rodent that can harbor Borrelia burgdorferi, the bacterium in the tick that causes Lyme disease. As a result, the expansion of animal reservoir is another reason for rising Lyme disease rates. The reservoir on the East Coast is the white-footed mouse. The western gray squirrel carries the bacterium in California. While lizards are not a reservoir for Borrelia burgdorferi, they are a common host for the blackleg tick in California, increasing the risk of human infections by keeping the tick populations in the wild. Is it true that tick must bite you for at least 24 hours before transmitting Lyme disease? This is correct. The CDC recommends that patients who notice the tick and remove it within 24 hours do not require antibiotic prophylaxis with doxycycline to prevent Lyme disease transmission. Before transmitting the Lyme pathogen, the tick must be on you for 36 to 48 hours, sucking your blood and attaching to you while Borrelia burgdorferi migrates from the tick's gut to its salivary glands. So it's critical to find and remove ticks as soon as possible. So this is all about Lyme disease and it is getting worse. Let us know your views about it in the comments below. Until the next video, stay tuned and subscribe for more.